Boom, shakalaka boom. You're tuned in to the Free Range Human Show Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This, my friends, is the Clay Edwards Show experiment. I kid. It's the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards. I'm live here on 103.9 FM, WYAB, broadcasting worldwide at WYAB.com. Just search Alexa or the TuneIn app for WYAB, and we are here live and worldwide every morning. Well, every Monday through Friday, 7 to 9. All right, the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. Special happy birthday shout out to my boy Daryl Dirty D Arnold. Had a good conversation with Daryl on the phone last night for about an hour. Woke up this morning, checked Facebook, and saw it was Daryl's birthday. Y'all want to see a crazy old picture of me and Daryl? I posted on my personal Facebook this morning from 1999 when we were living in Hollywood, California, chasing rock and roll dreams together. I look absolutely ridiculous. I think I look like the guy from The Offspring, as Matt Phillips said in the comments. I never thought about it, but yep. Bleached blonde hair, big furry yellow shirt. I'd get stoned to death in the South and now if I wore that around here. But California, Hollywood in the late 90s was like a big rock and roll rave. It was a good time, fun time to be in L.A. You know, don't remember anything about politics, nothing like that. Has some of the best times of my life out there. Some of the best memories, anyway. We lived right downstairs from a little band you may have heard of. They lived in the apartment complex next to us. A little band named Korn. We're just getting signed. Remember them? I remember ending up in the Hollywood Hills at a guy's house for a songwriting session. I was not the talent. I was just along for the ride with Leif Garrett and Julian Lennon, if my memory serves. I know we were with Julian Lennon. I think we were with Leif Garrett. It may have been another band that Daryl was playing in. Neither here nor there. Wild experiences that I never thought a little poor boy from Mississippi would have found himself in. But that's been kind of the story of my life. Just kind of the Forrest Gump of Jackson, Mississippi. I just kind of keep ending up in these strange, I can't believe I'm here moments. So it's been a fun life, but y'all can check out that picture there. If you see Daryl today, tell him we said happy birthday on the Clay Edwards Show. I'm going to jump straight in. Let's do some controversy. Let's do what this show does best. I got a guest coming in an hour or two. We haven't done much of the testimony and recovery stuff lately. There's a big event this weekend, big Celebrate Recovery style event. So we got Brad Hancock coming in. He's been on here before. His testimony's phenomenal. If you've got a little extra time this morning in the car in the 8 o'clock hour, I encourage you to stay in the car, turn on the radio, go to WYAB.com on your phone, hit listen, whatever you got to do. I encourage you to listen. Maybe you need a little encouragement that people do recover, and no matter what it is, right? I mean, I had a damn breakdown on the show the other day thinking about my recovery. It wasn't just drugs, financial, career, everything. So maybe you need that little kick in the butt this morning to remind yourself that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So stay around for the 8 o'clock hour and listen. We were talking yesterday. I got two things. I'm going to try to intertwine them together. I'm not always good at that. I got something I really want to talk about that I'm not 100% ready to say I'm all in on it, but it's been on my mind a lot lately. I even went to church last night to try to see if I could get a feeling for if my mind was right. And the service was just about something different, which it did hit home. So it was great to get back home to Hickory Ridge Baptist Church last night for the first time in a year and a half. Just great service from Associate Pastor Gerald out there. And again, a great message that was right on time, but just about a different topic. It's funny, when I haven't been to church in a while, it can be on my heart, and I'll go. And it's like that message, usually Brother Terry speaking, and it's just right on time for wherever I'm at in my life. So it's funny how that works. You know, I've been listening to the Democrat National nonsense for the last couple nights. If I sound like I hadn't had much sleep, I hadn't. I stayed up late because I'm a glutton for punishment, watching the presumptive VP. Anyway, so there's been a lot of talk about abortion lately. And they're doing abortions outside the DNC. They want to depopulate Earth. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, you can say that's a conspiracy theory or whatever. They clearly have a depopulation agenda with abortion and shoving this LGBT rainbow supremacy nonsense in everybody's face constantly, trying to gay up as much stuff as they can. And at the end of the day, regardless on your thoughts and opinions on gay and letting people just live their lives and all that stuff, at the end of the day, if those gay folks, LGBTQ folks, are staying true to the game, they're staying faithful to their cause, they don't reproduce. Again, regardless of your opinions of it, of it being a sin and all that stuff, at the end of the day, it doesn't reproduce. It does not create more human life. Clearly, abortion doesn't. I'm going to say something really, really uncomfortable that goes against what I've been saying for the last 4 years, well, way longer than the last 4 years, but since I've been on the radio. You know, I said that abortion's my hill to die on. I don't care how many elections it loses us. I don't care. It's my hill to die on. And I'm not ready to jump off that hill yet. But I do have a thought. And that thought is, and I'm just talking it through y'all. I don't want this taken out of context, because context, of course, matters. And I would prefer to have somebody in here to have this conversation with. And so you're welcome to call in. I'll give the number back out in a minute. Should we not just let these crazy Democrats have all the abortions they want? I mean, I'm just saying, between all the LGBTQ stuff and them wanting to kill all their babies, we damn well could save America within a generation. Because they're just eventually going to run out of humans to have, Democrats, to continue to ruin America. Just a thought. I mean, I'm just saying, it's just a thought. Am I wrong? I mean, because abortions are legal. Abortion isn't illegal, contrary to what Democrats would have you think. I mean, they're illegal in Mississippi. I mean, wouldn't the problem eventually solve itself with all these crazy mofos? If we just let them continue to do their thing? Now, of course, I understand that ain't how it works, because they're continuously indoctrinating our children in public schools. And that's why they're dead set on shoving that LGBTQ LMNOP rainbow supremacy agenda, BLM, down our children's throats at as early of an age as possible. That's why they're doing drag queen story time. That's why so many of these public school teachers have trans flags hanging in their classrooms. Let's take a call from Mr. Dixon, the voice of reason, this morning. I'm going to guess that Mr. Dixon probably does not agree with my thought process here. Mr. Dixon, good morning.
Brother Clay. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Being a little black-pilled this morning.
Well, I feel you, but I want to just advance something with your approval.
Sure.
To kind of show you why I have a little bit of a disagreement with you.
Well, I was hoping somebody would. Trust me, I don't want to be right about this. I want to put that out there.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, but you got to remember one thing. Who are you dealing with? You're dealing with people who are known liars. The first thing they would do, if you said, okay, abortions for whoever wants it, they would turn that around on people like us, first and foremost, because you got to remember, look at the past of how they behaved. Every lie they accused Donald Trump of committing, they, in fact, did it. Everything they accused their enemies of doing. They would come in and say, well, yeah, we want the right to abortion, but we can't do it right now because we know how to manage the system. And all those people out there who are just not quite up to our level, maybe we should, save these scarce resources for the ones who are active producers. You see where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
There was a book I read years ago called Animal Farm by George Orwell. I encourage everybody, if they have some free time, to get that book and read it, because that's the Democrats. At the end of the day, they are the only ones. That small cadre, that small clique, think they have all the sense, and they should be entitled to all of the resources. So when you start opening up an avenue to eliminate their enemies, brother, they're going to take it, and they're going to run with it. Do you remember that saying when we were kids, you give them an inch and they'll take a mile?
Oh, I see it every day, brother.
You give these jokers an inch, they'll take 1,000,000 miles. So just something to think about. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And we don't need to give them any opportunity to open the door to wrong. Clay, you be blessed, man. Keep on doing what you're doing, bro.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. You as well, brother. Always great to hear from Mr. Dixon. I always say that every time he calls because it is. It's always a joy to hear from Mr. Dixon. When I first got started over here, Mr. Dixon and myself were co-host or Tuesday guest of Mr. Kim Wade's, and that's how I got to meet Dixon. And I've enjoyed every conversation we've ever had. And so again, I'm just going to continue to kind of play this out in my head a little bit here. If we're just going to continue for these women to have these babies and then throw them out in the streets of Jackson, Mississippi, and let them continue to commit mass shootings and run around like Taliban terrorists and eventually just get killed anyway in a form of a extreme late form abortion, what's the difference in it? What's the difference? Save some taxpayers some money, some heartache, maybe save an innocent victim pumping gas at a gas station, their lives. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. If y'all want to correct me, you want to agree with me, you got another thought process, the phone line this morning, 601-879-0002. I would love to hear from you. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. We're going to run over just a second here before we take our first break. I want to play this again. To Mr. Dixon's point about them lying all the time, I played this, I think it was from Tuesday's show. It was from opening night of the DNC. This is that crazy lady who was strung out on cocaine. She is not in recovery. She will not be at the recovery event this weekend that we're going to promote in the second hour. The woman who kept licking her face with her tongue. I just want to play this one more time. The Democrats are really good at one thing. Well, it's lying, but the way they lie, they're really, really good at their messaging. Like, they message their lie better than we ever can our truth. I mean, I do it well, but I offend people while I'm doing it. It is what it is. I'm a bull in a china shop. That's why y'all listen. I say the things y'all wish y'all could say. That's what y'all tell me. Let's listen to this lady here. We're going to go to a break right after, and we'll unpack it again on the other side.
Donald Trump would be able to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents. He could even turn the FBI into his own personal police force. That is not how it works in America. That's how it works in dictatorships. Donald Trump would be
gaslighting masterclass. I know y'all see those ads like Hillary Clinton and stuff, that masterclass.com. This girl right here could teach a gaslighting masterclass. Let's take a break. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. Guys, I know y'all just heard that commercial for 042 Wine and Spirits, located right there on Highway 80 or West Government Boulevard, depending on what you want to call it, in Brandon. 042, right next to Sonny's Barbecue. Hey, look, man, football's getting started up. I know there's some high school football. I think there's a college game. Ain't this week 0, as they call it? I think there's a big college game over in Ireland. It's usually Notre Dame playing somebody like Boston College or something. Anyhow, there's football upon us. Swing by, get stocked up for all of your wine and liquor needs. Huge selection of bourbon, vodkas, tequilas. But we're living in the golden age of great tequilas, by the way. I was talking to Brad, the owner of 042, when I went over there to put this deal together, and I was just telling him about, I was looking at their tequila selections. And hey, look, by the way, if you own a bar, restaurant, or whatever, you don't have to get all your liquor from the ABC. You can, in fact, buy from a wholesaler, from a liquor store, and they keep plenty of stock just so you can, in fact, do that. Just FYI, we used to do that when I had my liquor license at a nightclub. You can't quite get the minimum order to get ABC to deliver. You can just go to a store and use your tax ID number. Reach out to them for the details. I'm just throwing that out there. But I was telling him, man, the best tequila I used to love tequila, and my favorite one ever, and frankly, it's still a really great tequila, is Sammy Hagar's Cabo Wabo. Now I know he's since sold Cabo Wabo. It's not he don't own it anymore, but that Cabo Wabo Silver, man, it was the first time I had tequila and didn't need a chaser with it. But, like, again, we're living in the golden era of great tequilas, and they got a ton of them there at 042 Wine and Spirits. And, of course, when wine is in your name, you've got a huge selection of great wines as well to match up perfectly with any dinner. So get by, see them today, see Kevin and the team, Kim. They'll help you with anything. Need some help for some mixed drink ideas, what goes with what. Swing by, they'll get you taken care of. They got a ton of great Bloody Mary mixes as well. And they carry local favorite Cathead vodka out there, too. So that's 042 Wine and Spirits, located in Brandon, Mississippi, right there on 042, in the 042. Not the 047, the 042 on Highway 80, right next to Sonny's Barbecue. All right. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Mazda Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. Derek texts in and says, Espolon tequila is the way to go. Man, if I ever get around some tequila again, I may take you up on that. I haven't had the taste for tequila in a while. I've done a shot here and there. When somebody's buying, I typically just shoot whatever they're buying. But my buddy Lane bought me a shot of Rumplemints for my birthday the other night over at McBee's, and it's the one shot I couldn't do it. I sipped on it for a second. I was like, man, I ain't done a shot of Rumplemints since 2001, and I remembered why. But I appreciated it. I appreciated the thought. Thank you, Lane. I know you're listening this morning. All right, back to the topic at hand. Unknown texter. The global elite want no more than 500 million people on this planet. That's a lot of killing off. We've talked about this on the show before. I mean, that's why they blew up the Georgia Guidestones. I think, I can't back this up, I believe Ted Turner paid to have those made. Now, if you don't know what the Georgia Guidestones were, there's a ton of little documentaries about it on YouTube. The History Channel's done stuff back before they were in the bag for the global elite. They did a good job exposing and explaining these things. But, yeah, they told you what they wanted to do. They had it there in those Georgia Guidestones that the Earth should not have more than 500 million people on it. It may have been less than that on those Guidestones. Maybe that may have been 40 or 50 million. And, man, they start putting forth all these agendas. COVID happens. Then the vaccine, which, a lot of us still believe that vaccine, If you got that vaccine, you ain't here for the long haul. Sudden death syndrome for adults is happening. Then you throw in the LGBTQ stuff. You ain't repopulating. I mean, again, I don't care what your thoughts and feelings are about people being gay. If they're true to the game, they ain't repopulating. But what a lot of it goes on with them is married men out there cheating on their wives with other men. And then they're bringing back the plethora of STDs into their home to their wife. Nasty, just plain out nasty. But yeah, they definitely want to depopulate this thing. I don't think that's a mystery at all. But the twist of irony with that is they want to depopulate us, but they also want to have the border wide open to bring in as many people from all over the world as they can, because we have a birth issue here in America. That we need more people. Well, if y'all would quit killing them, we would have more people. Do you know that the black race has not grown by more than like 2% since the 1970s? They were like 12% of the population. I saw a stat the other day. They were like 12% of the population in like 1972. I may have my year a little off. They've been stuck around 14% for as long as I can remember. We've been saying that blacks are 14% of the population, committing 50% of the violent crimes for 30 years. I've been hearing that saying. How has the black population not grown? It's growing around here. I know how. It's because of abortion and, of course, the genocide they're committing upon one another on the streets in these black Democrat communities like Jackson. That's wild to me. I can't go to Walmart without seeing 3 or 4 pregnant black women. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just making a point here. You would just think that they would represent more than 14% of the population by now. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, this is Buddy.
Hey, buddy.
And let me tell you something. I didn't take the jab, had no intention of taking the jab, but now I saw a little thing, I forget which one of the flu vaccines now, you can get the jab mixed in your flu vaccine. And they are wanting to depopulate us, and these idiots that are getting into the global warming, let's do away with CO2. CO2 right now is 0.004% of the atmosphere. At 7% now, we could still thrive. But if we got the CO2 up to 7%, tomatoes would be bigger than watermelons. CO2 is what makes plant life grow. Also, they say the CO2 is rising and destroying the atmosphere, the upper atmosphere. CO2 has a higher weight than oxygen. And I believe that I may stand corrected, but someplace about 14,000 feet is what they call the tree line, where trees and vegetation don't grow because there's no CO2 up there to fuel it. They're smarter than we think. They're destroying processing plants for food. They are, but about 27% of the United States farmland is owned by the Chinese. If they reduce the CO2, it's going to cause the food to go down. We're going to go to rationing. We're going to go stand in line and get our cup of meal and our 6 ounces of milk, and that's what you're going to get for the day. And they're going to have total, absolute control. But some of these idiots that are helping promote that, I'm talking about on the little end, you see these 2-ton women walking around fat, people who are starving everywhere. They're going to be the first ones they take out. And it's just pitiful. And as far as Jackson has a lot of problems, but the way the murders are going over there, you give it 5 years, it'll pretty much take care of itself because they're going to kill each other off. And one last thing. You're talking about the gays are not going to reproduce. This is correct, except I am very cautious because gays don't reproduce. They go out and recruit. So you protect your little ones. that's about all I got to say, brother, except give them hell.
Always, brother. Appreciate it. Home run call from Buddy there, per usual. Let's take a break and come back with more. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Maybe we'll dive into some of these videos and clips I got from the DNC last night. I stayed up late, so you didn't have to. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on the Mothership, WYAB, on a hump day Wednesday. Guys, get out to Guns and Gear this Friday and Saturday. It's a Second Amendment tax-free weekend. Going to be a big old time. They got a lot of cool stuff planned. I mean, what's better than... What says 1776 better than guns and not having to pay taxes? Sign me up. I don't know that I necessarily, air quotes here in the studio, need another gun. But if I ain't got to pay taxes to get one, my ears perk up a little bit. Get out there, Highway 51 North, Highway 51 North at Yandell Road in Madison County, Gluckstadt. That is Guns and Gear. I will be out there for a little while Saturday. Not sure exactly what time yet, but I'm going to post up for a couple hours, try to meet some folks, and partake in all the good times. Maybe grab some barbecue next door from that place while I'm there. I always talk about it. Anyhow, there's one right by my house. I don't eat there. I don't know why I would eat at the other one, but it is great when you do eat there. All that aside, Guns and Gear, your home of no-limit ammo, and, of course, they can take care of all your gunsmithing and Cerakoting needs as well. And don't forget, you got a gun you need to sell it to Guns and Gear. And, of course, go buy one from them, too. Tax-free weekend coming up this Friday and Saturday at Guns and Gear. All right, man, let's go to the Mazda Jackson phone line. Oh gosh. Technical difficulties there. It seems to be a recurring theme when people call into the show is technical difficulties. Feel free to call back, 601-879-0002. We'll read a couple texts in the meantime. What day did I must have got my day of the week wrong here. Somebody said it's Thursday. What did I say? Wednesday? Tuesday? It's all a blur. Anyway, stayed up late last night watching the DNC. I think I watched more of the DNC than I did the RNC. They're both terrible. I don't know how y'all watch that stuff. Like, some people really enjoy it. It was miserable. I wanted to pour bleach in my eyes seeing all those ugly white Democrats on my TV last night. Let's try this phone call again. Hey, you're on there. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, bud.
Hey, bud.
How you doing, Ed?
Good.
So my name's Jeff. I usually call in to Kim Wade every now and then. I listen to you every morning. Getting back to some of the things that you were talking with the last caller about, people need to start connecting dots here. The carbon emission stuff that they're complaining about, and they're trying to, that's all controlled. We all know it. We need to enlighten some people. Some people you'll never enlighten. But, that's basically what it is. Now, the sheep are being replaced by these illegals that are being brought in. Bill Gates is one of the biggest people that wants the population lowered, per se. So they know they can't take our guns. So the best way for them to have a tax base is to get rid of us and replace us with people that can't speak English 9 times out of 10 and don't know what's going on. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey, you're 100% right, brother. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, Bill Gates, they keep calling us conspiracy theorists, but they can't debunk us. Truly debunk us. They can't disprove facts. Facts don't care about your feelings. Bill Gates is buying up a ton of farmland and not using it. They want to kill us. Let's take another call. We got Derek on the line. Hey, Derek, on there, brother.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Hey, you had a chance to unpack any of that DNC foolishness? Because it seemed like it was one big beta male convention when the first night was on in a restaurant. I was sitting there.
It's ridiculous. I got a bunch of clips from it. I would rather not have to poison the airwaves with them. So as long as we got some good phone calls and conversation going, we may just ignore them.
Well, Kim, I'm sorry. Clay, I wanted to say this and, just get it out there. What more proof does the black community need? Kamala Harris isn't a black woman. The great Judge Joe Brown broke that down and told you he knew the daddy. And black people still ain't paying attention to that. And did you listen to the clip where Joe Brown went in on Kamala Harris?
I did. And, Derek, if I came out today and said I was black and I was running as a Democrat, the black Democrat community would wrap their arms around me because I said I was a Democrat too. They're the most easily bamboozled and tricked voting population I've ever seen in my life.
Clay, like I said, we've chopped it up on many occasions, and it's evidently clear that I'm mixed race when you meet me, is it not?
Yes, sir.
But somebody like Kamala Harris, that's what Indians have been doing for this community for years. They'll cut their hair short, adopt a different dress style, and then they'll claim to be something that they're not. Just because you're from Jamaica don't make you black. Now, Judge Joe Brown said he knew her dad, and he even denied it. And he said, and he challenged Kamala. He said, well, Kamala, what you can do is have your daddy sign an affidavit stating that you got a black relative, but he ain't going to do that because he's already came out and denied everything that she's saying, but yet people are still following the Pied Piper who speaks in doublespeak. So I don't know what else to say. And then another thing, I don't want to hear another black person talk about Nazis and racists and things like that when your president has been sending the Nazis billions of dollars to fund their military. Yeah, to fund their military. Now, have you noticed they ain't said nothing about that? Look up the Ukraine military Azov Brigade. They are bona fide certified on the World Court watch list as Nazis. But nobody bats an eye. And that's mine and your tax dollars, my friend. You have a good day.
Thanks, Derek. Yeah, now, again, I haven't listened to every bit of the DNC because, I have one good ear left. I don't want to waste any of my hearing on that. But what I have heard, I haven't heard a word about Ukraine. That's so last week. It's all about Palestine now. All about Palestine now. I heard a great little phrase the other night that I'd never heard before. I'm getting a little off the beaten path here, but a lot of Democrats have Israel derangement syndrome. Like they suddenly, and look, this has been bubbling in the background for a long time, like the black Israelites and stuff. They don't like the Jews. Black hip-hop artists. I mean, there's been a lot of this going on for a while, and since Jewish people run the entertainment business, basically, or it's ran by people who happen to be Jewish, let's word it like that, to make it clear for folks, you hadn't been allowed to talk about that. And I don't know that it makes a difference one way or another. They've all made a ton of money, and they all end up putting on the dress and dancing for them. So I'm surprised it's taken as long as it has to get into the mainstream zeitgeist of America. There's a word you didn't expect to hear on the Clay Edwards Show today, zeitgeist. I know some of y'all are thinking that. So it's been interesting from a guy that frankly doesn't have a dog in the race on either side. Whatever. I'm not going to be forced to pick a side. Republicans are going to tell me I gotta stand with Israel, and Democrats damn sure ain't going to tell me I got to stand with Palestine. I'm a fan of let them fight it out and let the last man standing, to the victor goes the spoils. I don't think we should be interfering. That's just my opinion. But it is funny to see after they tried to keep that bottled down. They tried to keep that rift between Jews and blacks bubbling under the surface and not let mainstream America know that was a thing, and now it has busted out the seams. It's going to be interesting to see what the Israel supporters do come election time. My interest is officially peaked. Will the Jewish population, will the Jewish voting bloc vote conservative? Will they vote against their best interest? Because that's what Democrats constantly tell us here in Mississippi every time we end up with another Republican governor that white folks bees voting against their best interest. I don't know. I mean, life is good for the most part. If things were a little cheaper at the grocery store and gas was a little cheaper and everything was a little cheaper, which is controlled by Joe Biden and the Democrats right now. I mean, things are going pretty good here in Mississippi for me. Killing is y'all's business in Jackson, and business is good. I mean, I do well talking about y'all being bad. So it's against my best interest to save Jackson. Y'all keep doing what you do, boo-boo. Let's take a break. Come back, land the plane for hour one. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Come back, tell you what's for lunch today. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. As we get ready to close, end the first hour, or bring the first hour to a close. That's why I say land the plane, because I always mess it up. Anyway, let's talk about what's for lunch today. Burgers, Blues, Barbecue, all three locations, downtown Brandon, Flowood, and, of course, Madison, Mississippi, downtown, the Blue Plate Special Day, red beans and rice, or hamburger steak, or country fried steak. You know your boy loves that country fried steak. The sides are mashed potatoes, corn, and green beans. Maybe you're not going to be in that area. Maybe you want to hit up Martin's downtown Jackson or Martin's in Gluckstadt, or not Gluckstadt, town of Livingston out there. Today's Blue Plate Special on Thursday is pot roast. And, of course, the full menu is available at Martin's. All you got to do is order it. Show up and order. And, man, it'll be good. As again, it's country fried steak every time I go to Martin's. I can't I'm like an old dude that loves his Hennessy. It's Hennessy on Monday, it's Hennessy on Tuesday, it's Hennessy on Wednesday. That's me with country fried steak at Martin's. It's country fried steak or bust. Try that. And, of course, if you're in downtown Jackson and want to hit up Old Tavern, they have a great fried fish Thursday, all fresh, never frozen. Should be good to go. Get in and see the oldest operating retail establishment in Jackson, as far as I know. That's the Old Tavern on George Street. And last but not least, if you're in Gluckstadt and you want some pizza, Johnny's Pizza got pizza combos for lunch starting as low as $6.99. Who said you can't eat for under $10 in this Joe Biden economy? Take that, Republicans. Kidding. Anyway, man, get out and support some of these great food sponsors. Of course, after 4 p.m. today, you can go by Acme Pizza and Daiquiris out there at Fannin Mart on the Res. Pick up a great specialty pizza, frozen daiquiris, and more from Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Open 4 p.m. to midnight daily, 7 days a week actually, I think they're closed on Tuesday, but open 6 days a week at Fannin Mart on the Reservoir. All right, man, fun first hour. We got into some pretty deep topics there. Coming up here in hour two, we've got some guests in the studios. They got a big event this weekend. You into the recovery lifestyle? You want to be in the recovery lifestyle? This is going to be the one for you, man. These guys have climbed the mountain and battled their demons, and they're helping other guys do the same. We got Bradley Hancock. He's got a guest with him. We're going to hear all about that. Bradley's been on the show once or twice. He's married to an old friend of mine. Congratulations to her for graduating out of all her troubles and issues in the past and moving forward in life. I actually met a guy at church that knows Bradley last night. We'll talk about that and more. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back in 7 minutes on WYAB. Boom goes the dynamite. You tune back in to the most incendiary show on the radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. It's hour two of the most incendiary show on radio. I guess I already said that part. I've been butchering these re-intros back into the show here lately. But with all that said, this segment, real quick, going to be brought to you by A1 Gear and Auto. If you have any automotive issues, especially with your ring and pinion, that's what they specialize in. But look, I haven't taken anything over there yet that they didn't specialize in. They can do it all at A1 Gear and Auto. The only thing they don't do is work on diesel engines. Now, if your rear end messes up, they can fix that. Your front end messes up, they can take care of that. But they just ain't going deep into that diesel engine. They'll refer you to somebody who can. But, man, if your brakes are messed up, if your batteries messed up, if your check engine light's on, my air conditioning compressor went out on my car a couple months ago, boom, they got you covered. A1 Gear and Auto. They're always going to get it diagnosed right the first time. It's going to be ready when they say it's going to be ready, and you're going to pay what y'all agreed on in advance once they properly diagnosed it, unless something comes up along the way that was unforeseen. So check them out today, 49 South, Florence, Mississippi. Go see Justin and the team at A1 Gear and Auto. All right, man, here in the studio, first, second, or third time now. I can't remember how many times Bradley's been in here. We got Bradley Hancock and got his buddy, said his name is J-Truth. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
J-Truth. J-Truth, what do you do?
I do Christian hip-hop, man.
I thought so, with the name like J-Truth. I was going to go out on a limb there and assume you were a hip-hop artist.
Yes, sir.
So, look, man, Bradley, y'all got a big event coming up this weekend. Tell folks about yourself. Tell folks what's up, and kind of give them the spill.
Yeah, man. So I work for and begun a ministry called Felon to Forgiven, and what we do is I spent many of years of my life incarcerated. And while I was incarcerated, it was due to my decisions, but some of the conditions of the facilities that I was at and just the overall scheme of things, man, I didn't have anybody to put commentary on my books. I didn't have anybody to write me. And because of my decisions and my addiction, I ended up in prison. I'd burnt bridges, so I didn't have nobody there. So really through a lot of prayer, me and my wife started this ministry called Felon to Forgiven. And what we do is we throw worship events, Christian hip-hop concerts, Christian rock concerts, and different things of that nature. And it's all free events, but what we're going to do is all the merchandise sales and all the proceeds from any other avenue of that event will be going towards commissary bags for inmates who don't get it, and probably supplies for sober living homes.
Tell people real quick. I mean, I know what commissary is, but explain to people what commissary is, because not everybody's had to experience or deal with that.
Okay,
or do any of that.
So commissary, when you get locked up, when Johnny Law finally runs down on you, and then the judgment of God is against you. And you finally
it could be for you. It could be God saving your life.
Amen. That's right. Amen. That's right. When the rubber meets the road and you finally get thrown in that cell, that jail food doesn't seem too good. I mean, I remember one time the flies wouldn't even fly around it. And man, I would see guys they would call their families, and every inmate has a financial bank account almost to where their money. Their family can put money on their books. And what that means is if my cousin's locked up for XYZ and he ain't got no food in there, they got a little store that they give to inmates where they can go and order food to kind of supplement for the food that they serve. And it's really rough. It gets really rough. And not only food, but hygiene.
It's like by TVs and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that before, I think.
You can
radios.
Depending on the facility, you can buy things, make your time go easier, hygiene products, electronics, depending on the facility. And what
hygiene seems like a big thing. Like it's like one of those little things you don't think of. Like I just get out of the shower, throw my deodorant on, brush my teeth, and boom, shakalaka.
That's right.
And that's look, I've been in jail before, and I could tell you, hygiene is definitely an issue in jail. You get thrown in that holding tank out there at Raymond for 3 or 4 days, felony or non-felon. There's some guys that have been in there for a hot second.
Yeah.
And Mississippi in the middle of summer.
Yeah, it starts smelling like a raw onion. And it gets bad in there. You got about 100 dudes on his own, and ain't none of them got deodorant. It gets pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we just want to find avenues to show the love of Christ and love on these guys. And I've been there, and I've figured out that if I can find a broken situation with a broken person, and that's the perfect situation to introduce him into something different.
I went to church last night. I studied for the first time in a minute. And it was a friend of mine, Shell. I sat with her, and it was her birthday, and I just got back home, and I sent her a message and said, "Hey man, thanks for letting me. I hadn't been in a while. Thanks for letting me kind of invade your space, so I didn't have to sit by myself." And and I was telling her who was going to be on the show today, and kind of explaining, what y'all do, and I just think it's such an important thing. And my point was, you meet, and I've heard people talk about this, and Pastor Terry Fant taught me this years ago about the church is not a building.
That's right.
The church is us.
Come on now.
And look, I've been slow to the party on some of this stuff because I lack empathy for people who are at rock bottom by their own issues. It's just I've been there, I get it.
That's right.
If you're not, when you get ready to get help, man, I'll help you any way I can. But there's people who are just dead set on destroying themselves. You got to let them finish destroying themselves sometimes. But how you guys get up and you take the church to the people, how you meet people where they're at, it's so commendable. And that's why I don't mind extending my platform to you to help promote your stuff, because I know y'all are out there going to the jails, doing your jail ministry. We mentioned Aubrey a minute ago and his Night of Hope event and stuff like that. And just the prison ministry stuff, I think, is such a great tool. And I know a lot of people, of course, they find, I'm being the pessimist here. People, of course, they find Jesus in jail. They ain't got nothing else to do. There's plenty of people who don't find Jesus in jail. So I commend the ones
that's right
that do. Let's not knock it because of where it happened. That's actually the best place it could happen, right?
Absolutely. When I actually, found Jesus in prison, and 4 years ago, man, I'd be reading my Bible in prison, and people would walk up and they make fun of me. They said, "Oh, you ain't been reading your Bible. You're just praying for that court date." And they make fun of me, but I'd rather have Jesus in that courtroom with me than anybody else, especially half of the public defenders that we got.
Yeah, man, I was on I got called to the Capitol to be part of a judicial subcommittee. I know it sounds crazy saying that, but it was about properly funding the public defender system in Mississippi, and I kind of came as the man on the street kind of thing, and showing what happens, when you don't have a good public defender system, and just kind of like explaining Jackson as the great example of
absolutely
a corrupt justice system.
Absolutely.
And the public defender system needs some assistance. There's some good public defenders. I don't want to knock those guys either, but we need more, and we need to pay them properly so they take it. It's got to be a calling to be a public defender right now.
Absolutely.
Like it's a calling to be a teacher. I think it's got to be a calling to be a public defender, and we need that these are people's lives at stake here.
Yeah.
We need these guys to be paid properly, because there's a lot of people getting way too much time because they didn't have good defense.
That's right. So. That's right. And they stick caseloads the size of mountains on these guys, and it's just impossible. It's impossible for you to be the best public defender in the world, and if you got 100 clients because they don't want to pay people or the right amount of money to have more people to help you, then each individual case file isn't going to get that much more or that much attention.
Yeah, they're trying to get it where the state funds the public defenders. Versus right now, I think it's the counties.
Yeah,
had to fund it, and every county ain't built like Madison and Rankin. Hines, for example, where the most crime happens at, ain't built financially like Madison and Rankin. So, with all that said, I didn't mean to jump down that rabbit hole there, but it was top of mind.
So we got this event coming up Saturday, and man, we we got J-Truth. He's in the studio here with us today. We got Jimmy Hunt. He's been doing Christian hip hop in the Jackson Hines, the Central Mississippi area for a while. Shout out to Jimmy Hunt. He's been he really kind of pioneered Christian hip hop in our area and well as other areas. And we got a buddy of mine named Mark Calvert. Now, Mark Calvert, he's got a special ministry called Turning Points, and he's down there in South Mississippi, and he actually teaches the A&D program in Mississippi Department of Corrections. So we got a lot of reentry experience that's going to be there, but most of all, man, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a time to where a person like myself and J-Truth and people with our backgrounds can come. We can encounter Jesus, and we can praise and worship together, and there will be resources there. There will be baptisms there. We're going to have lists set out for companies that hire felons. We're going to have bus vouchers there. We're going to have different resources there for maybe the guy coming out of the sober living home. He just got out of rehab, and he's like, now what? This will be a great place for you to come.
Where is there and what time?
The Trinity Wesleyan Church, and that's in Byron, Mississippi, and that's on Sywell Road, and it's going to start at 5 o'clock.
Is that the one over by the drag strip, or is that on the other?
I can't tell you for sure because I'm not from Byron, but
I am. But I forget. I didn't go to church in Byron, so I'm not familiar with which one's which. But we'll figure it out. No big deal. It's on Sywell Road. They can put Trinity Wesleyan in Google and hit maps and go.
That's right.
So, what time does it start?
It starts at 5 o'clock. The door is going to be opened up at 4. It starts at 5 o'clock, man, and it's going to be an amazing time. We're going to have T-shirts for sale there. Like I said, all proceeds from the event. It's a free event. All proceeds from the event go towards the mission of commissary bags. Right now, we have a particular prison in mind, and that's Walnut Grove Correctional Facility. There's 350 inmates in that facility that we're trying to reach, and we recently did an event there, but there was 350 inmates that weren't able to come out to the event because they were on lockdown. And what that is you're behind a cell door 23 hours a day. You get an hour a day out. And we're like, man, well, who's there for those guys? So we wanted to kind of put together something that was going to reach them and be able to give them a token of love and a message from the Lord. And that's what we're going to do. So it's looking good.
So you said that you were hoping to get those guys to the event. Do you have a deal worked out where people are bringing people from these prisons to the event? How does that work?
No. So we're actually creating commissary bags. Like I said, the proceeds from the event.
Yeah, I got that.
Where we are going to go to Sam's and we're going to put commissary bags. We know the chaplain there and different people that work with MDOC that's going to allow us to put together commissary bags and give them to the guys behind the door, because Walnut Grove it's a lockdown prison, and some of these guys, they may not even have the privilege of ordering commissary.
Gotcha.
You know, these are security threat group inmates. These are the max of the max.
The gang stuff.
And by the time you reach that, you've pretty much given up. You know.
Well, those are the people we need to hit. That's rock bottom, right?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
That's rock bottom. That's where when you ain't got but two ways to go, straight up or sideways, you know, you got to make a decision.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When you see that cell door shut behind you, and you know you ain't getting out but 1 hour a day, and that goes on for a good 90 days, 6 months. Yeah, your heart starts to change a little bit. Get
a little calloused. Get a little calloused. All right, let's take a break, man. When we come back, we got J-Truth and Bradley Hancock here in the studio. I want to hear about some J-Truth. I want to hear what took you down this path, brother, when we come back.
Yes, sir.
This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back on WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, you know, I just heard that Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge ad there. Seems like a great opportunity to plug exactly what those guys do and to plug what doing business with those guys do can help accomplish. And if you donate a car, you got a vehicle, man, running or not, sitting in your yard, you need it to go away, you got a clear title on it, why don't you call Mercy House Auto Center? Let them come out, pick the vehicle up, donate it to them. You can get a tax write-off for the thing. That's right, man. I mean, let's just say, for example, the car in its current condition is worth about $1,500. I'm just making up numbers here. They get it down there, they recon it, they get it back running good, cleaned up good, and they're able to sell it for $5,000. You get the tax write-off for $5,000. So, look, math is going to math, and I like that math. So keep that in mind if you got a vehicle. Business owners, you got a fleet of vehicles that have ran their course. Don't bother putting them things, trading them into a dealership that's going to give you pennies on the dollar. Don't bother dealing with all the maniacs on Marketplace or crazy people on Craigslist. Donate them. Get the tax write-off. You know, that's going to be worth more to you at the end of the year than anything else you can do. So please keep that in mind. And look, what that's going to help fund is Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge Drug Rehabilitation Center, which is going to help beat addiction and put fathers back in homes. Does anybody have a problem with that? I don't. I think that look at Jackson, Mississippi is a shining example of fathers not being back in the home. So, and I just always use Jackson as my punching bag because it's the closest one with the most problems. But it's statewide, it's countrywide, and we got people down there at Mercy House doing a phenomenal job. Matt Milliman and his team. So keep that in mind. MercyHouseAutoCenter.com, and of course they sell cars too. If you you need a vehicle, $10,000 to $20,000. Keep them in mind. They got financing options available for every credit situation. You know, so like I say all the time, if you got really, really bad credit, you're going to need some money down. I'm just going to be the guy to break that news to you. It's like saying you can't be ugly and mean. You got to pick a struggle. You got to pick a struggle, man. So if you're going to have bad credit, you got to have cash down. It just is what it is. I've been there. So keep that in mind. MercyHouseAutoCenter.com. That last part was not part of the ad read. That's just me being a bull in a china shop. So I just like to be honest with folks, man. I like to set realistic expectations. You know, when I say somebody will finance somebody with bad credit, you know, you got to kind of buy your way in a little bit.
That's right.
You know, so I always use the analogy. You know, like we always talk about men and women. You know, you can't be ugly and mean and rude. You got to have at least have a good personality too.
You got to pick one.
The down payment's the good personality.
That's right.
In this analogy. All right, man. Look, we got Bradley Hancock and you said J-Truth?
J-Truth.
J-Truth. I'm sorry, J-Truth. We've been talking so much, I'm losing my mind over here. J-Truth, you're a Christian hip hop artist. Tell people a little bit about yourself. Give us a little background on you. How'd you get here?
First and foremost, I'd just like to thank God for saving me and let him get all the glory from all of this that I'm about to say. But, man, grew up, mom and dad went to prison, federal prison, so I never had a father figure. My mother, she wasn't there. My grandma, she raised me. So I kind of got to do what I wanted to do. But with getting to do what you want to do and not having a father figure there just don't mix together. No. And so I had no discipline. And so I started running with the big dogs, trying to be a big dog. And
Where you from?
I'm from Pontotoc, Mississippi.
Okay.
And just, got involved with the streets, the gangs at a real early age, 11 or 12. And at the time, they would just put me on like these little crash dummy missions. But I thought I was being accepted. I thought that was love. And I was really just looking for a fatherly love that I would never find from them.
How old are you now?
I'm 33.
Okay.
Went to prison my first time at 16. I did so many felonies from the age of 16, from the age 11 to 16, that they just finally emancipated me as an adult and sent me my second week in the 9th grade, sent me to Rankin County to the 6 months RID program. I ended up doing like 10 months that time. Because it's a 6-month program, but you still have to wait till your court date, and then you got to wait to be shipped off. And so I understand what Brad's doing with this, and it's a good thing with these commissary bags because your hygiene, first of all, way more than your food or anything that you can get. That's a mandatory. You feel better when you look or smell better. You know what I mean?
Look, I said this last night on the phone with somebody. Look good, feel good, play good, the pay is good.
Amen.
Amen. I think that's a Deion Sanders quote. I ain't sure, but it's true. It's like, and look, we all know just, if it gets a little hot outside, forget to put deodorant on, when you lift your arm, point
Yep.
Then you got to sit there and just smolder in your own must.
Yeah.
In jail. It's like, man, could I at least, point being, if you don't, at least if you don't stink, if you feel good about yourself, you're gonna put you in a better mood.
You're
gonna be more willing to accept the things around you.
Yep.
I just see all the upside to that.
So it's a good thing that we got going on this Saturday in Byram at the Trinity Wesleyan Church, and starts at 5. It'll be from like 5 to 8, and but back to me, man. I just always wanted to be loved. I just wanted to be fit in somewhere. I want to be cool. And I finally, I've been to prison 7 times. It took 7 times to get me, man. But he finally got a hold of me. And when he did, it was the best feeling that I ever had was knowing Jesus Christ and to be able to communicate with him through prayer. That's what it's all about. If you have someone out there struggling with addiction, if you have someone out there that's fighting anxiety, depression, man, tell them about this event, bro, because we're turning up in Jesus Christ's name. We're going to go put on for the one and true King. Man, it's going to be amazing, bro. It's got, like you said, there's baptisms going on, and it ain't no big I, little you thing. It's a we thing because we're all doing it for the glory of God and trying to save someone else. That's what it's all about, being able to lean on each other in these hard times.
When did you start rapping?
Man, I've been doing music for like since I was like 11 or 12 years old. That's really how I would cope with my problems and just put on the headphones and just get lost in the beat, the words. And I started doing secular music, and then about my last 2 months in prison, my wife had sent me a song and on the cell phone I wasn't supposed to have, but I still had it. You know what I mean? So anyway, she sent me this song, and it was a Christian hip hop song. And I was like, I realized then that I'd been doing it all the wrong way. A fire had lit inside of me. And then, you know what I mean? I was like, this is what I want to do. This is how I would give back to God's people. You know what I mean? And help them lead and motivate them and give them hope to trying to walk with God.
One of the recurring messages that I get out of church when I go, especially after I haven't been in a while, and I get convinced that I can do it Clay's way.
Yeah,
come on now.
I can do it Clay's way. Like my way's better. I know me. Nobody knows me better than me. I can do it my way. I can balance this high wire act. And it never failed. My first time back in church, there's always a message about, and I kind of talked about this in the first hour a little bit, there's always a message about do it his way.
That's right.
Doing it his way, not your way. And that's what sounds like happened with you with the music thing, is like he figured out to do it his way. And his way is the right way. Can I put you on the spot, man? You got a freestyle for us?
Yeah, man, I got one for you. It said, Yahweh, God's way of the highway, get up out of my way. Shout out to the Most High, Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. This the blueprint. No Jay-Z trying to get the street. Same piece that he gave me. Got to work for it. You can't get it being lazy. Told him I was doing Christian raps that I was crazy. God flow. Pray hit him like a pandemic. Scared to put the message in it. They just put the ethics in it. Put the truth with the beat. This medicine is penicillin. I've been going in real hard like a villain. Right foot, left foot slide. That's a faith walk. Calling on God like I'm linked up with straight talk. 7 times in prison like the prodigal. I straight off. Turned up for God. Hallelujah. Cut the brakes off. The division in religion why we can't grow. Catch me on the top and most rappers can't go. God, I'ma let the light of mine shine. Let the lamp glow. Bible be the rifle shooting demons like I'm Halo.
Come on.
I like it, brother. I love the wordplay. That was one of the first, when I first fell in love with hip hop years ago. It was the wordplay.
That's right.
That really got me, and then of course it evolved into being a little no limit soldier.
Taking over for the.
but initially, it was the wordplay and what. And I was always such a Lil Wayne fan because I thought he did a really good job of that. And of course, I wasn't a big East Coast rap guy, but I hear some of that influence in there, and that's good stuff. So let's tell people one more time who, what, when, where.
So it's Trinity Wesleyan Church, 5:00 this Saturday. That's in Byron, Mississippi, off Sidewell Road. And it's it starts at 5:00, man. We're gonna have J-Truth there. We're gonna have Mark Calvert there. I'm gonna be speaking. We got Cody Murphy coming out, man. We got Jimmy Hunt coming out, and it's gonna be an amazing thing. We're gonna be turning up for Jesus. So, like I said, Trinity Wesleyan Church, and it starts at 5:00 in Byron, Mississippi.
Can people find any of this information online anywhere?
Absolutely. You can look us up, man. Right now, we're operating off my personal Facebook, which is Bradley Hancock on Facebook, but you can also go to J-Truth's music page on Facebook, and pretty much everybody that I just mentioned is Facebook. And I'll also be sharing a link with you, Clay.
Yeah, do share a link. And you put together a great video. Your production team put together a great video talking about this the other day. I was like, this is just good stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll get that shared. Check out my big Facebook page or check them out, J-Truth or Bradley Hancock. Look, guys, I appreciate you guys coming out. Cheers to having another big successful event this Saturday at Trinity Wesleyan Church in Byram. What time again?
5:00.
5:00 until?
Until.
Yeah. I like it. All right, guys. We'll be right back with more Clay Edwards Show. Back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, real quick before we go any further, I want to thank those guys, Bradley Hancock and J-Truth, for coming in to promote their big event. Hey, look, man, we got to meet people where they're at sometimes. I'm guilty of that being a really hard thing for me to do, is trying to meet people where they're at and not wanting them to come to me. And I'm trying. I'm telling y'all, it is a fight internally that I battle constantly, is trying to have empathy for people that don't have it for themselves. I'm trying, and thank God there's people out there that are better at that than me. And I've tried to find my role and settle into it and let those guys do that and help them every way I can. But I'm trying. I want to give a special shout out to Bradley's wife, Jessica. Jessica used to be one of my bartenders back years ago, and she has fought and slayed her demons. She just graduated 3 years of drug court this week, and that's a miracle, because she was one of those girls, at that time, and I don't mean this as an insult by any means. You just looked at it and was like, man, that girl's lost. So, I don't know if she's ever going to be able to come back from that lifestyle. But of course, then I remembered that people said that about me too. And congratulations to Jessica. Her and Bradley have met each other. They've been amazing for one another, and it's God's work. It truly is. And I've been I've been fighting an internal struggle lately, and I took myself back to church last night. And I've been upset with the church. I'm just going to be honest. It's just, and I don't mean particularly just the church I go to. I just mean generally speaking. I've been upset that when I think the church should be getting more involved in politics and teaching people that when you're voting Democrat, you're voting for evil. You're voting for Satan. I feel like the church has cowarded away from that. The white church especially, and I hate to be like that, white church, black church, but I don't know a better way to say it. Because the black church is all in on politics. The white church cowers from it, especially conservative churches, conservative-based churches that you know are full of conservatives tend to cower away from talking about politics. I saw a WAPT or one of the news channels was broadcasting live from an event at some Unity type church in downtown Jackson, and I saw something in the background that offended my sensibilities so bad that it's what made me get up off the couch and go to church on a Wednesday night last night when I had not been to church in a year and a half. I've been watching it on TV, but it ain't the same thing. I saw a trans flag hanging at this church in Fondren or Belhaven or wherever it's at. And I'm assuming that's where it's at. It was a bunch of white liberals inside a church in Jackson, telling me about two places it can be. And I just this is the battle for the soul of America. I ain't going to be on the losing side. I ain't going to do it. We ain't losing. But anyway, I say all that to say I can't expect the church to do what I want it to do. If that's God's way, then that's God's way, not Clay's way. And maybe the church knows better than I do. But I can do what I can do what I have to do on the outside of that church. I can't let them not doing I can't let them not doing what I want them to do stop me from being discipled too. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for y'all. I'm kind of bearing it all for you a little bit this morning. Because I do consider myself a Christian. I am a Christian. I will fight anybody that tells me I'm not. But I don't always put God first like I should. And I'm trying. And I don't do New Year's resolutions from January to January. I do them from birthday to birthday. And it was coming out of my birthday, I said, you've done so good in so many other aspects of your life. Professionally, your health is better than it's ever been, but you're spiritually bankrupt right now. And you know it. This is a conversation I was having with myself in the mirror. I was like, you're spiritually bankrupt. And you've gotten away from what got you to where you're at and what helps you defeat those demons and find your success and get out of doing jobs you hated. And don't get off track. I had to remind myself of that. So it happens, man. It happens to the best of us. And but anyway, I don't really have an end game with telling y'all that. I just wanted to get that off my chest. If you know anybody that's struggling, take them to church. If you know anybody that's in the recovery, depending on where they're at in their recovery, if the recovery lifestyle, as I call it, is still top of mind for them, get them out to that event Saturday at Trinity Wesleyan Church in Byram, 5 p.m. It'd be a good one for them. This would have been back in 2015 or 2016. I was part of the leadership team at Hickory Ridge that started, and it wasn't my baby by no means, but I was just a part of the team that started the Celebrate Recovery stuff out there. So I completely understand it. I can understand getting caught up in it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing what those churches are doing with that. All right. Let's read a few Guns and Gear texts. 769-241-1944. If you guys want to chime in on any of that, the Mazda Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. Reagankin, can always count on Reagankin for a good text, says, the thing about internal struggles, Clay, is keeping your mind on the spiritual victory we know is at the end. That has saved me so many times when I was struggling, whether spiritually or physically. We win. It will be hell. It will be hell going through, and we will lose battles. But do not doubt the last page of the book. Great words there, my friend. Let's see here. unknown texter, said, I'm the same way. I get aggravated with the church. I have been thinking for a while about what if we had a real men's group meet once or twice a month. Do you think we would have any interest in that? I do. I think there's a group of men out there, and women for that matter, that are at a crossroads with their spirituality. And I was just talking to these guys off the air that were here a minute ago, and they're not very political. They're just kind of, waking up to seeing some things around them. They're very just faith-focused, and that's fine. And he was telling me he had discovered Charlie Kirk recently and was kind of hearing things from a biblical and political perspective. And I think it's important. I do think it's important for the church to guide its flock in the right direction. I think sometimes people need a little nudge. And if, that's telling them, hey, look, if you vote for this Democrat, here's what you're voting for. You're voting for death and destruction and murder. And I know I'm contradicting, if you listen to the first part of the show, we had the conversation about maybe we should just let Democrats have their abortions. Now, I didn't say I had made my mind up that I agreed with that, but I'm just asking the question out loud. In the long run, would that be better for America? Would that save America in the long run? I still don't have the question to that answer. I'm sorry, the answer to that question. Maybe I had it right the first time. I still don't have the question to that answer. Let's read some more text here. Miss Charlotte, good morning, Miss Charlotte, says, Clay, you're spot on. They stay quiet. They do. They do. And I just, like I say, I just have to reconcile with myself that if I want that relationship with, and I felt phenomenal when I left church last night. It was just like a high. And I was up to midnight last night, because I couldn't wind down. I felt so good when I left. So that's why I'm open to the thing, to the option of maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Clay's way ain't the right way. So let's see here. Corinthians sent in a great text. This is circling back to the conversation we're having earlier at the end of the last hour about the black population has been stuck at 12 to 14% for the last 40-something years, and then it's not growing. And I was like, I kind of had questions about why ain't it growing, Anyway, Corinthian, this is a little long-winded, but I want to get it in. If you take the time to send me this much information, I want to try to read it. I think it's respectful, too. This Corinthian Sanders, who is, in fact, running for mayor of Jackson. So keep that in mind. Says, morning, Clay. This is Corinthian. I believe since 1977, about 19 million black babies were aborted. And when abortion was legal in Mississippi, 82% of those getting abortions were black. There's an evil and wickedness possessing our black people, paid at the expense of taxpayers. Now, there's a study that presents black women and their stillbirths are dying at a rate of 74,000 per year, exhibiting the fact that a lot of black women suffer quality health care at an alarming rate. And they are the ones most likely that would go to the hospital or doctor before men would. We have to pray for and stand up for our women. Pray for their deliverance from the demon rat party and false churches. Protect them from predatory government and cover them with great anointing, but let us not neglect them in investing in their health care. Let's not neglect them by not investing in their health care. That's how we will win black women and simply working women with children with their welfare and interest at heart. Stay strong, brother. Thank you. I know I read that stuff and it sounds kind of blockish as I'm reading. It's because I'm reading a text message. Just 5 words, 5 words, 5 words, 5 words in a line. I just want to make sure I get it right. So apologize if that sounded a little clunky. Reagan chimes back in and says, Clay, I'm not begging Christians to vote for Republicans, but if someone who claims to love Jesus doesn't know why they should not be voting for the modern liberal Democrat, they should reevaluate their faith. Look, I've said it for years. I don't know how you can call yourself a Christian and a Democrat. If you look at the Democrat policies and what they stand for, and the fact they've got a mobile abortion unit sitting out in front of the DNC right now, and they're also castrating men, basically, out there. They do not represent family. They do not represent love. It's the same party that tells you love trumps hate, but they hate you if you don't agree with them 100% of the time on everything. If you get off the Democrat plantation just 0.1%, you're a racist, bigot, transphobe, homophobe, blah, 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 insurrectionist, all the IST stuff. All right, let's take a break, come back, land the plane for the day. Welcome back in. I just stumbled across this during the break, so I want to kind of land the plane with this today. We've been saying for a while that white liberal men are a bunch of low testosterone cucks, and Dana Bash with CNN just basically admitted that is, in fact, the voting bloc that the Democrats are trying to reach at the DNC. Hey, when they tell you the truth, listen to them.
But they are doing so in trying to put forward male figures, Tim Walz being one of them, Doug Emhoff last night, who can speak to men out there who might not be the sort of testosterone-laden, gun-toting kind of guy who wants to listen to Hulk Hogan and the kind of players that came out at the RNC, or might want to listen to that, but also, in addition, understand that it's okay in 2024 to be a man comfortable in his own skin who supports a woman. And that's something that they really are trying to work on with male voters beyond the base.
So I'm not going to support a woman like that. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think we all have roles. There's things I want a woman to support me doing. There's things I'm going to support her doing. I'm not going to support a woman like that. Not at the expense of my manhood and my gender role. I ain't going to do it. I'm not one of these women belong, pregnant in the kitchen. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad place. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we had quite a successful society when that was the case, but I'm not that guy. But I know they're literally telling you that they're pointing their weapon of mass distraction at low testosterone men by using Doug Emhoff and Tim Walz. Need I say more? But hey, there's a lot of low T guys out there. That's why so many of our great listeners get out to Men's Health and get their testosterone back right. They don't want to be that. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.